Mogro, the fellow fury of the forest, tree friend of Garwood, right? The group boy. And we're going to be talking about him today, explaining his skills, potential pairings that we could be looking out for in the future, right? And this is where everyone kind of likes these videos, because I even enjoy them, because we're all having a little bit of fun with theory crafting. We're obviously going to talk about some stuff that anyone can assume, but there's that little bit of spice that we all enjoy, right? And let's see what Mogro is going to be capable of, because I do think some of the pairings for this hero, again, is going to be game-changing for the game. So Mogro is Infantry Garrison skill. I will admit, guys, you know he's going to be the strongest Lord hero compared to, obviously, Danfell being on the Lucky Wheel, so it's going to be a lot more easier to obtain. But this hero seems to me one of the best infantry heroes we might get in the entire game until we get another copy of him. And that is because this is the first real infantry hero that is a tanker, but he's absolutely a monster because of the debuffing and the way he plays compared to any other basic commander in the game. So the first skill is a 450 damage factor and a 30% HP reduction in a AoE around him, right? This can target one march and then 2 surrounding legions, right? It has a near attack range, meaning, again, this is kind of similar to your Goresh or even our Danfell with the near attack range, so you know it's not bang on close. It's got a little bit of space in there, right? The real important thing is you are branding the target. This is going to be a keyword you're going to know a little bit later on in the kit, because all of his kit works together and you need it all kind of together to be a monster. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? So he's 450, 30% on the first skill. Second skill now is whenever we inflict a debuff upon a target with our main skills. That's what the innate skill target is, so you can just see this. Just make sure if anyone's trying to break the hero, right, with mastery skills in the future, you're not going to be able to do so, right? So it's just basically saying whenever we inflict a debuff on the target with our main actual skills, we're able to transmit those debuffs up to 2 surrounding targets. Now, this is potentially broken, and I will explain why this is potentially broken when we get to the hero pairings. Because the way this is stated is, again, when the Legion inflicts a debuff upon a target via an innate skill, the effect is also transmitted up to 2 surrounding targets. The fact is that this is a Legion-based effect, means if there is a debuff happening from the deputy, it could trigger this skill. And that's why it's really exciting and why this guy could be absolutely broken. Because now you're able to technically spread the plague with a massive amount of debuffs. As well, targets with the lash out, so with the damage from this skill damage factor here, are also going to be basically prioritized for future transmissions of a newer debuff maybe that you might not have in your kit. And that's what's really, really good about this, right? On top of this, you can see you've got a hero skill damage dealt to debuff targets is 15%. So basically, by spreading the plague, doing your job, putting as many debuffs onto the target, all of those targets now take 15% extra damage from basically your first skill instantly, right? So really, really clever way of synergizing both skills already with just one go. The third skill is good again, 20% defense bonus with a 10% attack. Obviously, we've seen Danfell with the 20% HP and 10% defense, which is cracked. But you can't double up on that, right? We can't be unfair to the old commanders, right? But this is still a really good stats. We kind of do want a little bit of attack just to make that AoE do more damage with the damage dealt bonus. And if you've noticed now with Mogro, like Danfell, you can kind of go with Danfell 5, 1, 1, 1, 1, double 5, 1, 1, 1, and so on. Mogro, you're going to be able to run 5, 5, 1, and he's actually going to be cooking as a main hero. One thing, though, that I will state after we go over this garrison skill, which is a really simple one, 10% damage dealt bonus, 10% HP bonus when garrison is siege or stronghold. Don't have to worry about too much on that, right? All the garrison leads know this skill is going to be pretty good for them, so they're going to be happy with that. But what's really insane about this hero is, compared to like Goresh, for mid spenders and low spenders that were looking at him and thinking, is the 300 heads worth that increase, right? Because obviously the increase is only I think it's 10% extra damage taken reduction and a small amount again of the attack or something. It's something again really small for it. So is it really worth it? It's the same with Freygar. Is it worth awakening Freygar just to get that extra like 200 damage on the skill and nothing else, right? Mogro's awakening skill is a really good skill because it allows him to do even more damage because of the way his whole kit works again. So whenever you deal damage to a branded enemy legion, you will deal additional physical damage to them, right? So there's an extra 200 damage on. So this is already 450 plus 600 damage that you're already amplifying by 15%, right? If they've got any sort of debuffs on them. And then your debuffs might, again, make them take extra damage, reduce their defense. They could do anything to those heroes, which is absolutely terrifying with Mogro. And I don't think you guys realize that this hero's second skill is absolutely terrifying to read if it works as it is intended, right? We're going to read this literally. We can infect any player with any debuff within the legion. So that is Mogro plus the deputy, right? So when it comes to pairings, obviously your Danfell is going to be a really good option. So I'll put that up on screen. Why is it a good option? Because it's a single target debuff of the 20% extra damage taken and march speed buff. But again, now, because of the way Mogro works, that skill or passive from Danfell can be spreaded to other units, to future surrounding targets that's been hit by your skill 1. So that's why it's actually insane on how this works. However, I do think it could be a little bit more cracked, right? We obviously know Mogro Danfell is going to work, so I'm not going to go too deep and diving into that match, right? We'll see how well it performs when we get both heroes in the game. But let's talk about some other infantry heroes, and then one spicy pick that I think you can run on here, right? So the first infantry hero that I really, really think you want to run with Mogro is Indis. And I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. If this works as intended, as we assuming it's kind of working without any real testing, right? We are able to heal ourselves and then apply an infirm onto the target. That's a spreading infirm to everyone. So we're able to apply infirm to multiple units, which I think could be absolutely disgusting to melt through the front line. On top of this, you get the 20% HP and maximum legion cap, so you're able to take more damage. And against other infantry players, boys, you're taking 50% less counterattack damage. So again, whenever you're against like a Goresh Skogul, guess what? You're cutting all of their damage by 50%. It's half. Half of it's just gone, guys. Which I think is a really powerful passive that you could have on an infantry commander. And this is kind of free-to-play friendly, which I think a lot of players are going to be surprised about, right? I don't know how well this commander honestly is going to perform with commanders like Goresh or Skogul. I'll be honest. Goresh seems to be, it's going to be cool. Gaining that physical attack bonus of 50% and damage taken reduction. It's going to allow that match to obviously take the damage. You gain some good stats here, which isn't too bad. But you're gaining that 200 skill damage factor again. So this is kind of like why it's really cool that these two commanders could work, because of skill damage factors and AoE. But you're not really applying any debuffs. So that's why I don't really want to apply Goresh Skogul. I think this match is just one match you have to run on its own, and you don't really branch them out, right? Another one you could run is Madeline. Madeline wouldn't be a bad option, just because, again, you're getting a nice shield, 20% attack, so he's doing more damage. You're getting the physical damage bonus, really good. Again, HP, counterattack damage bonus, and the skill damage on the AoE. If she's awakened, you're getting resistance too, which is even better, right? So you're definitely going to be super tanky with a Madeline and Mogro match. But again, is it going to really perform? I personally don't think it's going to outperform something like an Indis, which is, again, very surprising to say for me. But one commander that I've been hating on this commander for a long time, and we've seen how good she could be with Danfell, it's going to be Nika. Because I'm just going to say, guys, if you've got Nika, right, this bleed could be, I think, classed as a debuff, right? So if this is a debuff on a target, well, with Mogro, if we put a bleed on someone, we have now Mogro spreading that bleed across multiple units, which I think is kind of disgusting. Same if we got a massive nuke and 30% HP reduction. This could, again, go across multiple units. We've got, again, a very aggressive march, I will admit. I don't think will outperform any other marches, but again, I think when you're comparing what you want to do with Mogro to what we have out there, she is one commander that I reckon you could get away with, which might be, you know, the Indis march, right? One other, and this is the last infantry hero that I honestly did not think about for a very long time, and why it could be insane with Mogro, especially because Mogro is a garrison commander too, and so is this commander. And I honestly have been hating on this hero, and I don't think she's good at all. But Nairin, right? Nairin is going to give you a 15% AoE on the, you know, front line with a 600 skill damage factor, which isn't no laughing matter. It's a nice bit of AoE that you're able to put onto your Mogro. However, again, Mogro is going to be spreading now that healing receive reduction to other marches out there, which could be potentially detrimental, right? Apart from that, I don't think she's great, right? These two skills ain't the best, right? But this kind of, you know, garrison skill could be something. It could be something. I don't think it is, right, at all, but it could be something. Now, the final actual match I want to talk about, which is not a joke, right? Nothing compared to before. So if we're going to talk about Mogro, serious pairings, I would say Mogro with your Danfell, Mogro with Indis, definitely the two options I would go to. Then I would look at stuff like Mogro with like Fear or Mogro and Madeline. I think those two are like the next two options you want to look at. Then the final options you want to look at is Mogro and Nika, and the spicy option, Urag. Boys, I'm just saying, Urag with this guy is going to do an absurd amount of damage. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I feel like this is an insane amount of AoE damage that you're able to put on one infantry march. And what's crazy, again, because they're both near, you could run this on ranged cavalry and try that out. But what I really think, which is really powerful, guys, which I didn't really bring up in the last video, and I do apologize to you guys, I'll put it up on this one so you know a little bit more what I'm talking about. I am going to do a full video on it, and when we get one caught, it's going to be the war pet, right? Moon Bear. So the thing is with the Moon Bear here, it's a kind of crazy pet for Danfell, Mogro, and especially cavalry heroes, and even Nika, right? Because the way this pet works is you're doing the total damage factor of the commander and the deputy's rage skills. This does not mean the passives. So this is why if you're trying to run the Moon Bear with a Goresh or a Madeline and you're not getting any damage out of it, it's because those damages are on the passive skills, right? On skills 4 and 3, retrospectively to the hero, right? So you need to have high damage factor on the skill. And the thing is, this is what's kind of crazy about it, because you do an insane amount of damage. This is bugged. It's not very far. It's meant to say near for players, because if this was very far, it means archers could run it, and they can't run it at the moment. We've already tested it. Shout out to Tinzy for that one. But the Moon Rage, again, it's an absurd amount of damage that you're dealing. And the thing is, this 4,500 threshold you could easily hit if you're running a Mogro March with the Urag. I think the amount of AoE you're hitting is so absurd that it's always going to max out the Moon Bear, right? So really cool options there for the heroes. Just to put him back on screen, remember, go to the customization / emoji section, and then go down to your little retrospective hero you want to check out. So we want to check out Mogro for the video, and here he is again. So really interesting hero. I honestly do think this is going to be a game changer. I think players, especially in the future with more and more infantry heroes coming out, are going to have really fun times with this one, because I think this is one of the more interesting, you know, commanders, honestly, in Call of Dragons. All the others are kind of straightforward. They deal damage, and then, you know, they have a single debuff. This has an actual flow where we deal AoE damage, we apply debuffs, and then we're able to apply other debuffs and like plague more marches depending on what our legion runs. So I actually think Mogro is kind of crazy, and the thing is, we only will know in the future when we test this boy out. So I'd love to hear your comments down below. Do you think this guy is going to work how we think in this video? Do you think he's going to be absolutely broken as an infantry hero? What's your thoughts down below? And until the next video, you know what to do. Smash a like, comment, and subscribe. My name's MrSneakyy, like always. Until then, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky. Peace out.